Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today we are going to make this cute little vintage camera memory box. And inside, you open it up, it has 5 little separate folios inside. And these little folios will work on in the next video. Today it's going to be the box. To get started, you will need some chipboard. Now, when I made this, I used thick chipboard, so that's what I'm using in this video. You can use thinner chipboard if you want to, but to keep that rigidity with it being more like a keepsake memory box, I thought that using the thicker chipboard would work better. So you will need 4 pieces that are 3.5 by 7, 1 piece that is 5 by 7, 1 piece that is 3.5 by 5, and 1 piece that is 5 1/8 by 7. For the cardstock, to cover these pieces, you will need one piece, no, this is dated. Oh, these are the pieces. So it's to cover these, you will need 1 piece that is 5.5 by 7, 4 pieces that are 5.5 by 9, 1 piece that is 7 by 9, and 1 piece that is 7 1/8 by 9. And we're just going to cover these just the way that I make my album covers. So I have my 1-inch spacer here. I'm going to grab 1 piece. This is my 7 1/8 by 9-inch piece. So I need to grab my 5 1/8 by 7 and I'm just going to remove the score tape from my chipboard. The backing, and stick this right on like so. And again, grab my next piece, the piece that corresponds, take my score tape backing off. If my score tape cooperates, there we go. And then stick this right on my chipboard, just like so. So I'm going to do that with the rest of my chipboard pieces, just sticking them onto my cardstock, and then I will show you how to wrap them. I have my cardstock stuck to my chipboard pieces, or my chipboard piece stuck to my cardstock, and now it's time to wrap these. So the way I do it is I first go around and fold my cardstock around my chipboard like that, and then I take my bone folder, and this is thicker chipboard, so you want to be a little bit more careful so that you don't rip a hole in your cardstock. I carefully just burnish along the edge of my chipboard. And with thicker chipboard like this, I tend to start like half an inch to an inch away from my my chipboard edge, and then I kind of just push against the edge like this. I just like that, and then I just carefully run my bone folder along the edge. That way I know that I don't get any holes in my cardstock. Once I have my edges burnished, it is time to cut the corners. So you have these 4 corner squares that you created when you folded the paper around the chipboard. And we're going to cut all these out. Okay? After that, we're going to miter the corner off. So let me show you. I have my scissors here. I'm going to go straight all the way to the corner of my chipboard. And then I'm going to cut my corner out like that. And then I'm going to come across and make a little miter like that. So I'm going to do that to my other 3 corners really quick. And your piece should look like this. Let's get rid of all this really quick. I'm going to put some score tape on all 4 edges of my cardstock. Just like this. And then I like to take the backing off of all 4 corners, all 4 pieces before I wrap my cardstock or my chipboard. I'm going to start with the longer edges here. Add a little bit of glue right along the edge of my chipboard. Take my burnishing tool, burnish my cardstock against my chipboard, push the cardstock on top like this, and then with my bone folder, I like to burnish it down just to make sure that it sticks on. And I'm going to do this to the opposite side. And then my 2 shorter sides. Just like this. Then I like to look at my corners to see if I need to trim any excess off, and I do with this. So I'm just going to carefully take my scissors and just snip off a tiny bit off of the 2 corners that are peeking out. And now this is ready to be connected in my box. So I'm going to wrap the other pieces, and then we can move to the next step. Now it's time to work on the hinges. You will need 4 2x7s, 2 2x5s, and 2 2x3.5s. And we are scoring all of these with the 2 inches at the top, scoring them in half at 1. And then we're just going to fold and burnish on all our score marks. To make these into hinges, all we're going to do is, starting at the center fold line point, we're going to cut a diagonal and miter both ends, so that when you open it up, it looks like this. The center point, center line, will be the full width of the original piece, and then it'll taper down to shorter ends. We're going to do that to all 8 pieces. I've got my hinges, I've got my wrapped chipboard pieces. It's time to put our box together. We're going to start with our 5 by 3.5 inch piece. And we are going to grab our 5 by 7. So we're going to start with our 5 by 3.5 and our 4 smaller hinges. I put score tape on my hinges, making sure to leave about 1/8 to 1/8 of an inch spacing between my score mark and my score tape, because you don't want your score tape or glue to show through where the hinges connect to the chipboard pieces. So I just add a little bit of glue to one of my 3.5 inch pieces, and I'm just going to line up the score mark part along the edge of my covered chipboard piece. Just like this. And I'm going to do the same thing to the opposite side with my other 3.5 inch piece. And then we're going to add our 5 inch pieces along the long edges. And if you did it correctly, your hinges should be able to all come up without hitting each other in the corners, which mine do, so we're good. And the last hinge for the bottom. Now you want to grab your 5 by 7 inch piece. And I'm just going to remove one of the backings from one of the 5 inch hinges, and I'm going to add glue to the hinge, and I'm going to butt the 2 chipboard pieces together, making sure that they align as best I can, and then I'm just going to push the hinge on top of my 5 by 7, just like this. Now I'm going to grab 2 of my 3.5 by 7s, and these are going to be added to the 2 short hinges, the same way as the 5 by 7. Glue to your hinge, butt up the chipboard pieces together, lining them up as best you can, and then sticking down the hinge. And there is the start of our box. Going to flip this around so that the 5x7 is towards me, and I'm going to grab 2 of my 7-inch hinges and put them along the 2 edges of my 5x7. And the second piece. Like so. And now we're going to attach the other side of our hinges to our 3.5x7s. To do that, I'm going to take the backing off of one of my hinges. I'm going to add some glue. And then I'm going to stand up both sides, making sure that the edge of my 3.5x7 is lining up with the center score mark of my hinge, so that it looks like this. You don't want to put your box on the table like this, otherwise it's not going to give you a straight edge. You'll want to stand your box up for the sides. So I'm just going to do the second side. Just like so. And this is the back of our box, all finished. I'm going to grab my 5 1/8x7, and I'm going to attach that to the remaining hinge that is attached to our box base here. And this piece has 1/8 of an inch extra, so you want to center your box with your 1/8 inch piece as best as you can. And that looks pretty good. Happy with that. And grab your last 2 hinges, attach them to the sides of your 5 1/8x7 piece. Just like so. And this is how we get the little fun flap down box front. Our 2 last pieces. All we're going to do is attach these to our 2 hinges that we just put on. And there's our box space. If you can see, the box, the front of the box that flips down fits perfectly around the back of the box so that it closes really well. On my mock-up box here, I have 2 circles that I cut out, and I added a little 3-dimensional glue stuff. And these are 2 1/4 inch diameter. With this box, I am going to use shakers. I cut a piece of my pattern paper on my Cricut. This is about it's about a 4 1/8 by 6 7/8. 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. Should have made it 5 by 6 7/8, but we're just gonna go with that. It will still look good. The space between the edge of my pattern paper and the first circle is 1/4 inch, and the space between my 2 circles is 1/2 inch. I have 2 little discs here, and on one of them I cut the bottom off because if I didn't, my my shaker holder would be peeking out from underneath my pattern paper. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to my shaker here. And I'm going to stick it on my pattern paper and hope this works. This is the first time I am using this. Yeah, it works. And then we're going to add some glue to our second shaker here and place it in the top circle. Just like this. So some of my shaker bits are kind of getting stuck. But I did get it on. So trial and error. It's gonna take me a bit to get used to it, but I'm happy with it. Onto the lid. For the lid, you will need a 10.5 by 8 7/8 inch piece. And we are going to score at 1 1/4 and at 2.5 on all 4 sides. So 1 1/4 and 2.5. Oops. And a corner 2.5. Okay, so got that all done. And now we're going to cut. So I'm going to grab a ruler and my X-Acto blade. And this is going to be the exact way that you cut all 4 sides. So we're going to cut the outer part of one side, and then you want to, sorry if my head's getting in the way, this is very hard for me to see. We're going to cut down the same direction on the other 2 squares. We are going to cut the outer 2 rectangles, and then we're going to cut the bottom square of the first set of rectangles, or first set. So like this. And then I'm just gonna go in with my scissors really quick and miter this tab, just like that. And you're going to do that to all 4 sides. Your piece should look like this once you're done. So now we're just going to fold and burnish on all of our score marks that we made. Now we have this. What you're going to do is grab your glue and you're going to glue your tabs down on the adjoining side. So glue on your tab, then stick your tab on the next side, like this. Making sure that you are getting your sides as even as you can. And if it's not sticking, you might have to go over it with the burnishing tool or your bone folder. I'm just going to go around and glue all your tabs down. And now we have this. We're just going to take these pieces, these flaps, put glue on them, and stick them in the lid. And again, you might want to take your burnishing tool and your bone folder and just rub it on there to get it good and stuck down. There's a lot of stuff going around my neighborhood today, so my puppy is being very vocal. In the last tab, or last flap, burnish it in really good. Get stuck down, and there's our lid. And when we bring our little box in here, we can put our lid on and it keeps it closed. So our box is finished. Next video we will be working on the folios. If you liked this video, click the like button down below. If you want to watch more stuff, if you want to watch the next part to this project, click the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye!